Vegan? Anyone know? He was British.
David something?
I think yeah, Anthony knows.
Donald Watson?
Donald Watson. Yeah, there's a guy, and so the brief story is that Donald Watson was this guy who invented the word vegan back in 1944. You know, the word vegetarian was invented in 1850. Before that, anyone who didn't eat meat was called a Pythagorean, but in English. But then in 1850, they invented the word vegetarian. Then in 1944, Donald Watson was the secretary of the Vegetarian Society in London, and he was tired of typing this long word over, you know. He wanted a short word that would account for motivation, and it would be, you know, really the word. So he created the word vegan, and he wanted it pronounced that way. That's why you can't say vegan or vegan or whatever people say, because Donald said so. He said it's vegan. And he said, veganism is a philosophy and way of life which seeks to exclude as far as possible and practical all forms of exploitation of and cruelty to animals for food, clothing, or any other purpose. So that was the word that he invented. It basically has to do with motivation. You're trying to live your life to minimize cruelty and violence to animals and people. And so, anyway, he invented this word, and the Vegan Society was founded, and it kind of went on. And by the time, you know, say by the year 2005, the word, you know, there's a lot of vegans, the word's big, it's all over the world and everything. Donald Watson is still alive in 2005. He was not, at that point, he's 95 years old, and he's still healthy. He's still walking around in the hills of in England somewhere every day. You know. And I have a friend, Joe Connolly, who's editor of Veg News, and he went over to England twice to interview Donald Watson as a kind of do a feature about him, because he was old. He thought, well, not how long he's going to last here. And then the World Peace Diet came out, and then Joe went over to interview Donald Watson the last time. I mean, we didn't know it was the last time, but anyway, he called me and he said, "Will, I just want you to know, I'm here in England, I'm with Donald Watson. The other two times I was here, he was vigorous, we took walks in nature and all this, but now he's telling us that it's time to go. He's had a good life, but he's going to leave now. And he's sitting on his bed every day when I'm here, I'm talking to him, interviewing him. And I just want you to know that what he does every afternoon is he sits in his bed and he has his son-in-law read him the World Peace Diet." Yeah. And he said, I just want you to know, Donald said this is what he was trying to say when he invented the word vegan. And so I also, when I heard that, I was really touched, because I felt like, coming from the guy who invented the word, that this is, in a sense, the message that he was trying to give. And it's the message of, that lays the foundation, really, I think, of a world of peace and freedom and sustainability and justice and compassion and equality and freedom for all of us. And the closing poem is a poem by Shel Silverstein called Point of View. And it goes like this. Thanksgiving dinners sad and thankless, Christmas dinners dark and blue, when you stop and try to see it from a turkey's point of view. Sunday dinner isn't sunny, Easter feasts are just bad luck, when you see it from the viewpoint of a chicken or a duck. Oh, how I once loved tuna salad, steak and lobster, lamb chops too, till I stopped and looked at dinner from the dinner's point of view. So that's the basic underlying, I think, idea here in many ways, that the operative word in many ways is stop. It's sort of like we're going along, we're just eating, we're following along, we're following orders, and if we can just stop for a moment and reconsider and look from another point of view, besides our own culturally programmed point of view, and another point of view of the animals and future generations and the wildlife and everybody else, and then act from this bigger picture, then we can begin to create a new world. So much love to you all. Thank you all for joining us here this evening. I'm really honored. So I don't know how we're doing on time. As a vegan, one of my guiding principles is I don't like to cause unnecessary suffering to other sentient beings. I'm just curious if you're all that comfortable. So I'm not sure if you want to just go. We have food up here. I'm happy to answer questions in the back. I could answer one or two now maybe, but I know you're all maybe. it just takes a while to get the message out, and I'm glad we could do that. So, Susan, what do you think? Shall we take a couple questions, or just?
Yeah, well, if there are any questions, I mean,
could-
please feel free if you do need to go, because I know people do, but help yourself too. I know Katie's got a question here.
Is the food out there already, or is it not quite?
I think
Not-
food, is
It
it
will be.
vegan? It's all vegan.
Oh my God, I hope so.
Oh, actually, Katie
I
has
just
a
have a
question.
comment.
Okay.
I think you're amazing. You're just
Thank you.
awesome.
That's it?
And Katie's a vegan student here at the University
Oh,
of
oh, you're biased, buddy. Oh, thank you.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Oh, the questions here we got.
Oh yeah, let's go ahead and I would actually go ahead and announce also your organization.
In case anybody needs help eating vegan, I help organize the local vegan group. There's about 1,100 of us, and all we do is find the best food and eat it. And we have a website with everything that's vegetarian in the province. So
www.vegonline.info.
yeah, and I have lots of cards.
He gave me his card. It's great. So that's a great resource. Like I said, the main way that we get out of this is to have an alternative community. And this is an alternative community of people that are sharing recipes and learning how to move to a plant-based diet. And what do you know, all this, lots of ins and outs for the whole thing. But it's
So we
great.
had a question here, and
Yeah,
then
I had a question. I'm still from that old-fashioned world. I grew up like you, seeing animals killed, and I'm now thinking there might be another way, but I have a nursing background, so I know you need 50 grams of protein and you need this much
Right.
calcium. And I'm just wondering, I'm looking at proteins, from beans and from legumes, and the math doesn't compute for me, so I'm wondering if there's a chapter in here that addresses that
Yeah.
that basic premise of, are we getting the nutrients that we need to maintain our health?
Right. Yeah, I mean, that chapter I mentioned called The Intelligence of Human Physiology, that's the longest chapter in the book, and it really goes into protein, essential fatty acids, vitamins, minerals, all those things. And yeah, it's definitely, there's no worries about protein, for sure. I mean, protein is really one of the easiest things to get plenty of. You can't, it's almost literally impossible to unless you're eating complete, utter vegan junk food, like nothing but jelly donuts and Coke or something, which it could be vegan, I guess. If you're eating, grains and vegetables, and some, you don't even have to eat legumes, then you really have plenty. But yeah, you can get, it's no problem. You get plenty of protein. Yeah, I mean, I can go into that more in depth, but yeah.
may I just follow up with a story about how healthy and fun-loving Will is when he arrived in our house, about May with your permission, Will, after a long flight getting here to Calgary, went out for a run, and a little bit like your trip down the Grand Canyon, had a swim in the river Bow, the Bow River, yesterday. So how amazing! I mean, that's fantastic.
They're going today too.
Are you in swimming today? Oh my
Yeah, it's a
God,
nice
that's
river.
fantastic. Yeah. How many of you have been swimming in the Bow in October? There we go. So we have a question here.
Yeah, I've read your book, and I think it's just amazing. It's just so wonderful. And there's so much to it that actually, this is a sustainability week. So it's probably enough for a course at the university level that's taught. Has anybody, have you thought about that?
Yeah, actually, it was interesting. It has been taught in universities. It was taught at Purdue University in Indiana. They have an honors class in human sciences, I think, and they just had one textbook, which was the World Peace Diet for the whole semester. And the professor called me and he just said, this is amazing. I mean, we're teaching here. They all came in here. They're all meat and dairy eaters, and now we've got them. They're all questioning everything, and it was very successful. Except they wouldn't let him do it again. Apparently, in Purdue University is there's a dairy industry is really invested. When they found out, they didn't like it, so they wouldn't. So I guess it depends on how strong the animal agriculture industry is actually embedded into the university. If they don't like it, then it won't work. But he's trying to do it again. He's just that's one of the problems that there's a lot of money to be made on animal agriculture and everything. So. But I think as an issue of academic freedom, it should be able to be taught.
Because at the universities,
It's
that's
university,
where
it should
they're
be.
supposed to teach.
Right.
lot of different things.
Well,
Right.
yeah, I mean, a snippet that you don't know yet, Will, is that Craig Gerlach, who just had to leave, is teaching a course in the winter term on food and food systems, and is actually now, after meeting you, and is going to use your textbook, the World Peace
Oh, really?
as the textbook
Oh, that's
for the course. So that's
Oh, wow.
running in the winter. So maybe if we just have one more
Okay, one last
question, and then we'll
question.
go to the reception. Yeah.
I thought it was really brilliant what you said about the fact that you needed a vision and a new community and people to eat with and try things. And for me, I wonder if there's a book that you could recommend, or whether you have to write the book, I'm not sure, to help the economic community make this shift to sort of veganomics. Like you said, there's all kinds of pressure from the way things are and how we make money now in the whole economic system. But I know there's another reality that we can move to. And I just wonder if there's a book that has...
Actually, there's a new book that just came out by David Simon. And I think it's called Meat-onomics or something. I can't remember the exact title. But if you look up David Simon, he's a brilliant guy. I think he's got a PhD in economics, or maybe he's a lawyer. But anyway, he's written a book. And he sent it to me a while back, and it just came out. And it really does go in depth into the economics of animal agriculture and on every level, from the health point of view, health services, as well as the costs involved and so forth.
I know there's lots of information about the way it is now,
Uh-huh.
but I would love to see a book that shows the way it could be.
Right. Yeah, that's going to be my next book. I think that's good. Vision of a positive future. Much love. Thank you very much, man. I'm happy to sign books in the back, too. I think they